Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Roll Down podcast. My name is Cutler, and I am joined, as always, for the last 23 episodes by my special companion, best friend, closest closest person in my entire life on this podcast, and that is Sol. Welcome to the podcast, as always.
Good to be here as always.
Oh, guys, big episode. I want to introduce a very special guest, perhaps the biggest guest we've ever had on the show. Could we perhaps even get a bigger guest? I don't think so. Robin Songs, welcome
Ah,
to the podcast.
oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Guys, we have a massive episode prepared for you guys today. It is going to be all about Worlds, all about the new patch, the Worlds patch, as they're calling it. First thing we want to do, however, as we always do on this episode of the podcast, is talk to our guest, talk to Robin, learn a little bit more about him, where he came from, his background. So, Robin, pretty easy to start off with. How'd you get into TFT?
How did I get into TFT? I used to play League. Um, Riven One Trick. I peaked at Diamond One, which is basically Masters, which is basically like Challenger.
Yep.
And then it was set one, I think. And then my friends were like, "Oh, there's this new like game mode that you should try out. It's like a auto chess." And "Wah." I was like, "I don't like chess." But then they're like, "No, just try it. It's really fun." So I tried it with them, and then I think I remember playing like an in-house my first game, and then I went eighth, and then I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, I don't know why, but like I got like really obsessed with like getting better at the game or learning the game. So I just like started like searching like tutorials, Scaro videos about like econ and stuff like that, uh, and then I just got better at the game. I don't know, and yeah, that's how I got into TFT.
Brilliant. Yeah, I actually I started the exact same way. Scary videos was my into learning about TFT to begin with. I want to talk to you a little bit now about sort of this meteoric rise towards massive streamer that you are now. Does it feel weird to look down at your stream sometimes and see five, six, seven, 10,000 people watching you at any given time?
Um, it's definitely weird. I mean, if you think about it like that, it's weird, but in the moment when you're streaming, it's not that weird. I guess because I think my growth has been so like organic.
Mm.
Like it's happened like starting when I started streaming, I was at like literally like one viewer, right? And then just like months and months, just kept growing. So like you know how when you know how when like you know what I'm talking about? Like when something happens throughout not a very long time, but like gradually, you don't really like if someone's like getting older, gradually, you don't really notice that they got old until like you after like 10 years, maybe you notice that, oh wow, like they got really old. Or like okay, I don't know if that's a good example, but you guys know what I'm saying.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's a
But
gradual
like
process.
yeah, so like I still don't think that I'm like that big, but like looking at the stats, like that is like a lot of viewers, right? So I mean, it gets weird when I start to think about it, but like in the moment, like I just feel like I'm still streaming to like this, like like as my mom, like 10, like just a few viewers. So yeah, it's both. It's weird and not weird.
Yeah, fascinating. That is really interesting. I'd love to sort of talk about kind of the top echelon of TFT streamers. You know, guys like Soju and Q. And we talked a little bit off camera about like you going to Vegas to meet up with a lot of these great TFT players and friends of yours from online. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind like recapping that experience, like how that experience was for you to like meet all of these people that you'd become friends with online.
Um, why did we go to Vegas? Oh yeah, so it was like after like Worlds, right? Or regionals. Like the season was over, and then I think we all like wanted to meet up somewhere in Vegas, and then like I think because like Hafu and Becca lived there or something, so they wanted to like visit them. So I kind of like tagged along. And then um I don't think I was nervous meeting them because I've actually met people that I've met online before. Like I used to play MapleStory Mobile, and I met a lot of friends from there in real life. So it's not
Hmm.
like my first time meeting online people for the first time, so I wasn't like that nervous. Usually it's like a really good experience. So when I saw them there, I was like, yeah, I wasn't really worried or anything like, oh, like what if this guy's weird or like, oh, what if it's awkward? Everything was like pretty normal, and we had a great time. Everyone was like exactly like how they were on stream, except like a little bit like less of them. You know what I mean? Like a toned down version of their real like of their stream personality.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and we went a second time, and the second time it was just like we go way back, kind of, not really, just like nice to see you again, stuff like that. So it was cool. So if anyone's like nervous and stuff, like I feel like you don't have to be like I think most of the people that you are friends with online, like you guys will still like, be the same RL.
Yeah. I'd love to hear your thought process as well on TFT Twitch chat specifically. There's been a lot of discussion recently about like the state of TFT Twitch chat. It's getting funnier. There's more memes. The community's growing.
Yeah.
There's a lot more sort of interconnectivity between other players and events, and people are playing games together and different games together, and then they're coming back to TFT. So I was wondering how what your thoughts are on sort of the like TFT Twitch chat, and what it's like to be kind of like a big streamer with a big influx of Cone spam in your chat and bat chest every third emote.
Yeah. It's really interesting. It's really interesting, and like I feel like I feel like the history books in the future, when they look back at Twitch, like it's actually like a really cool thing, like the Twitch metas. Like you can't really explain it, and it's so like you have to just like no one's like forcing anything. You have to let it happen like organically, right? So it's like one of the funniest things in the world, I think. And I think TFT Twitch chat in particular is like TFT is like I always say TFT is like the perfect game to stream. Uh, minus the backseating, because you have so much downtime, and that you can interact with chat a lot. And there's so many things that spawn from TFT, right? Like Dies of Cringe, like Q-Cone, like that, like Batman, Robin, and all that, like the Batman universe. Like what other community will come up with this stuff? Like the TFT Twitch emote game and like the Twitch chat game. It's honestly like a really, really like fun experience, and that's why I think like TFT gets a lot of viewers, or has a lot of viewership. Um, but yeah, I've tried streaming other games. Like I've tried streaming like League or Valorant and stuff, and it's just like not the same. It's really like it's not the same because like when I'm playing Valorant, I can't even look at chat like majority of the time, and like
Yeah.
until I die, right? And when I die, I just look at chat and they don't even say anything. Like the funniest thing they'll say is like, "Oh, like you have to click the person or something," like to kill them or something, or like nice NT. They just spam NT, But it gets old. Whereas in TFT, there's so many different variations of like stuff like that. So I think yeah, I think it's very, very, very interesting, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Brilliant. Guys, before we get onto our big topic, which is Worlds, we wanted to sort of do a little discussion about the patch that we've just had, as well as the LCQ. So I'm going to come to you first and sort of talk about the patch. I know you said off stream, off cam, just before we started, that you stayed up all night playing a lot of this new patch. So I'm interested to hear
Yep.
some of your early thoughts on what you think's changed.
Yeah. Patch. Patch good. I've been playing a lot. I don't know why in particular, but I've just been playing a lot off stream. The games are pretty fun. I've been fast nining a lot. Every game I'm just like, how can I fast nine? 'Cause, yeah, these legendary units are pretty fun to play around. But yeah, in general though, I think the patch is like pretty solid. And I think that like a lot of the things that were sort of out of line got turned down, which is really nice. So yeah, I definitely feel like the game is in a spot right now where like you can make most carries work, which is good. Yeah, it's definitely what you want to see out of a Worlds patch, I think.
Getting a bit sick of this fucking Victor unit, but we'll get onto that. Robin, I'll come to you. Hear your thoughts on the patch. If how you're feeling. You played quite a few games. I mean, I sat and watched your stream yesterday. I've seen some of the games that you've been playing. Do you have any early thoughts on how this patch is shaping out?
Yeah, this patch is the best patch of 6.5. I already said it, and I've been saying it. I even leaked it before it came out because um basically 2 patches ago they fixed the champion balancing, right? Like the champion balancing was horrible.
Mm.
You know, it was like the worst one of the, like the worst patch, like Synaptic Mutants. The regionals patch was pretty bad. Synaptic Mutants, Sharpshooters, Sivir, like it was so bad. But then like they patched it, and then they made Synaptic's not that good anymore, and then Sivir was still stronger, but you can play a lot more comps. They buffed Jhin, right? So Jin's playable, and then Draven's playable and stuff like that. And then now this patch they finally cleaned everything up with augments. So like last patch the champions were balanced, but the augments are super unbalanced still. Like Tiny Titans, getting Tiny Titans like first or second. Sharpshooter is a freaking not a prismatic, and like you can get I can cuss, right? Like you get
Oh yeah,
I don't need cuss.
absolutely.
You can get Mork dogged so many games. But then now they fixed the augments where like the chance of you getting Mork dogged is like probably like 90% to like 10%. And then and the champions are balanced too. So this patch is like okay, like balance wise it's the best. Like so if you like balance and you think it's fun, it's fun. Fun is subjective, right? Like some people might like degenning a comp every turn, every game. So they might not think this is the most fun patch, but as far as balance wise, like it's the most balanced. But like I just wish that Riot could get their balance right sooner rather than like the patches that don't matter. Because this happens like almost every set. There are some sets where they can get it right, like right off the bat, or like in the middle of the set, but it's really rare.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think a lot of their a lot of well, I mean, when you go back and you listen to the more videos about the patches, one of the first things he said when they talked about Jin specifically because they nerfed Jin on this patch, he said, "Yeah, we made Jin too strong. We know we did. So now we're correcting it," which I find a really interesting take on balance. I think it doesn't benefit the people that play a lot when you do things like that. Like you overbuff somebody only to nerf them again 2 seconds later. I find that not maybe the most natural state of balance because it swings everything so much all the time. But I'll defer to Soul when I talk about this because you've worked in, you've done a lot of game design and studied game design and things like that. So what are your thoughts on the balance shakeups that have been going on?
I think in general, Thresh is like not very good. Like I think we can objectively say that like thrashing is kind of bad, right, when it comes to balance. But I think in this case it made sense to thrash because they basically needed. They only had 2 patches, right, to sort of get it right because this patch is World's patch. They need to get it right, right? So it made sense to like overbuff a few things, like Jin being the primary example, so that like if they knew that like if it's like overperforming, then they could just like rein it back in, right? So like for example, like Mort talked in the what's it called, the postmortem, where if they made Jin 60 mana and then it like wasn't very clear how like whether he needed more love or less love, like it would have been really awkward. Like, well, for example, like they made him 60 mana and then they buffed him further to 70 mana, we would be stuck with this. If they buffed him further to 50 mana from 60, we would be stuck with a 50 mana Jin for Waltz. But instead, by making Jin 50 mana immediately and looking at the stats and being like, okay, Jin's win rate's a bit too high now, you already like that you can just auto correct by bringing it back to 60. So yeah, I think that there are situations where, as a dev, like it makes a lot of sense to sort of go for like more drastic changes because you're on a limited time. But I think in general though, it's not too great to like change like 5 different things in like a single tree at once, or like like I'll give the example that like for example, I don't think it was a very good idea to like just sweeping like 80 nerf to everything and then like not touch AP at all, and then yeah, we ended up with a patch, right? So yeah.
Yeah, really good points. I'd like to chat about like a couple of specific examples of the patch. Firstly, the Kha'Zix fix that they've implemented, where he walks a little bit faster between units. Robin, any thoughts on this sort of kind of strange change to Kha'Zix to try and make him a little bit more viable when he's jumping around the place and can get on units really quickly?
Oh, I think Kha'Zix's broken now.
Okay.
I think Kha'Zix's broken, but I feel like he was already earlier really strong before the jump fix. But then now he's like, I wouldn't say he's broken. I have to play more, but I feel like he's really strong. I feel like he didn't really need the jump fix, but maybe he does. I don't know.
Yeah. Sol, I'll come to you. We've talked about a lot on this podcast, especially at 6.0 when we first started, about how shit Galio was and where his identity, how they nerfed him consistently and what the issues were with his sort of unit type. Another buff for him, he's actually getting a lot of play rate right now. It keeps going up and up and up. What are your thoughts on Galio right now?
I play a lot of Galio. Mostly because I fast 9 a lot, so I play a lot of Galio. Because all you really need, in the fast 9 board is pretty much just it's just Victor, Jinx, Kai'Sa, Flex carry, and then your front line is usually just Braum plus Galio. And all you literally need is burst CC to CC them for 2-3 seconds and the fight's over. And that's in that context, Galio's been really, really good. Although that being said, though, I don't know how much of that is actually the buffs mattering. Because all the buffs have changed is his damage. The buffs don't really affect his CC or his tankiness or anything. So yeah, it's more just in the context of that specific board. I think Galio is really, really good, but I think he still has the issue of just being really hard to play before level 9 because you're giving that extra slot up, and it's just sometimes it's just so hard to fit that extra slot in.
Robin, as an avid Sivir enjoyer, you play a lot of Sivir on stream all the time. I was wondering what your thoughts are on the new patch or how Sivir is looking right now.
I think Sivir is finally in a good spot. She's not too strong and she's not too weak. She was mega broken the entire set. No one really knew until Sox brought it up. I kind of knew. There's a lot of Sivir haters, right? Everyone's on the Aurelia train, but then Sox knew that Sivir was broken, and then Sox released attack. And after he released attack, everyone jumped on Sivir. And then but Sivir was broken all along, I think. They were just building her wrong, I guess. Or playing the Hextech version or something. But now I think she's in a good place, finally.
So definitely a far cry from the sort of the first patch where it was only Sivir and Renata players in every lobby.
Oh, that patch was terrible. But I climbed a lot.
You climb a lot.
Same.
I climbed the most in terrible patches.
Yeah, that's when you just got to knuckle down and play the broken shit for a few days.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. Thanks to the chat for bringing it up. It was on the Roll Down podcast that Sox did say that Sivir was really broken and that everybody should be playing it. Thanks very much, Sox, for that. That's really good. That was
you guys leaked it.
Yeah, that was our fault.
We're responsible.
Yeah, that was us. Sorry about that, Sox. Let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about the LCQ. We have 2 North American players attending. Robin, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind giving your thoughts on their chances. I suppose it's a really stacked lineup, to be honest, as well. So it's going to be a really fun event. What are your initial thoughts on the LCQ?
100%.
Watching?
Yes, I might stream it. But I don't know who else is going to be streaming it. But I might stream it. It's this Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific, at 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, it's not 100. It's not 100, but I think. Okay, I don't even know the other players though. I know Slooper's playing. I know he's from Brazil. I think Uso Lucas is also world player last year. I know Uso Lucas and Slooper are pretty good.
And Ging as well.
Ging. Oh yeah, Ging. Is there any OCE players or?
No. The 2 OCE players went straight through to the Worlds event.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I think we have a really good chance though, because I feel like Ramblin is really good. He's definitely a Worlds caliber player. Nico, I feel like is really, really good, underrated as well. So I think we have a really good chance, but I don't know how strong the other players are. So I have no idea, but I'm just gonna say we're gonna make it 100%. So we're gonna have 6 qualifiers at Worlds.
Nice, love that. It's gonna be a really, really fun tournament. Let's move on. Biggest portion of this episode we are going to dedicate to Worlds. we want to really get into the mind of preparing for Worlds, prepping for a big tournament, and Robin is the perfect person to help us for that because you've prepared for the biggest tournaments of them all. I was wondering what goes into your preparation. We've talked to a lot of pro players about how they prepare, and we talked to GV8 2 weeks ago about regionals and how he prepares for events or how he plans to prepare for Worlds. So, what was it
Yeah.
like for you preparing for the biggest events?
So my preparation was actually not that good. I felt like I could have done more. That was probably like a big reason why I didn't do that well at Worlds. I think first thing for preparation, you need to fix your sleep schedule because you have to start playing at like 2 a.m. or something, Pacific. So the first thing you need to do is change your sleep schedule so you're actually like mentally and physically like 100% at like 2 a.m. So you probably need to wake up at like midnight or something, or like 11 p.m. So you literally have to like, if you're from Pacific or Eastern, you have to like switch 24 hours. I think for GVA, I think for Eastern players it's actually better because I think the tournament starts at 3 Pacific, so it's 6 a.m. for Eastern. So for GVA, it's actually good for him because I think he said he's like old, so he like sleeps at like 9 and wakes up at like 5 or something.
Yeah, me too.
So it's actually perfect for him. But for if you're Pacific, whatever, yeah, you have to like fix your sleep. Second thing is I mean how I prepare was I just like spam games in solo queue. That's what I did last set, but I went from like rank 2 to like rank 40 or something because it was a new patch. It was like after regionals patch. I was really good at regionals patch, but then they nerfed Jax and stuff and Lucian and stuff. So I was kind of lost, I think. But I didn't want to admit it because of like my ego or something, and also like I was also like too lazy or also like too lazy / ego to like reach out to other players and like ask for help, you know? Um and I just like I lost a shit ton of LP, but I just chalked that up to like, oh, it's solo queue, I don't care, right? I'm not playing for real. But in reality, if you're in solo queue and if you're not playing for real, but you're dropping, because like if you're a world caliber player, you don't have to play for real, you'll still climb in solo queue. If the patch if you're good, right, at the patch. But if you're bad at the patch, you'll fall. So I was actually like not that good at the patch. But I didn't want to admit it or like I didn't realize it. So I went into Worlds like not in like peak form, and then I didn't do that well. So I would say my advice is to you have to spam solo queue games, play as many in houses as possible, but definitely reach out for help. Reach out to other players that are really doing really well. During that patch, I think Milk does this really well. I think Milk last year he like literally reached out to like everyone but like me for help. I don't know why, but yeah, he was like, oh yeah, he's like, I reached out to everyone for help, and I was like, wait, you didn't reach out to me. He's like, oh,
I saw your LP on
so
keep going down, and so maybe not.
Yeah, he probably saw my LP. He's like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna get advice from this guy. But yeah, I think our representatives this year, I think they are prepping really well for it. At least they're starting. They were like goofing around until this patch, but yeah, just like yeah, that's my advice, I guess.
Would love your thoughts on VOD review as well. You know, we've had pro players come on here and talk about like reviewing your games. You know, we've had them come on and say like, oh, 80% of my preparation for events is VOD review and I only play 20% of games, or, you know, 80% the other way around. What are your thoughts on like VOD reviewing like your own games, having people backseating your games and things like that? You see it a lot. I mean, there's a lot of NA streams right now with about 4 or 5 players in call talking about the best, you know, the best augment to take here or the best time to level and things like that. Do you think it's extremely valuable?
Yeah. I think backseating is super valuable. That's like asking someone for help basically, but because you can get their perspective. You don't have to listen to 100% the things they say, but you can get their perspective and their reasonings. You can also find out some weaknesses of your play and to fix that. I think VOD review is super important because I think like I think they did a VOD review of my regionals play this year and I learned a lot. But yeah, that's super important. I'm just like I'm super lazy to like VOD review my own play. But honestly, if you want to win, you need to do everything possible to you can't be lazy, right? You have to like put in the work,
That might have come
and the
out
results
today
will.
or yesterday, actually, that VOD review of your regionals performance.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to see it yet, but I saw a post about it.
Hmm. I'd love to ask you about regionals itself. I mean, you played fantastic. We did a whole recap of all of GV8's games and pretty much all of the Final Eights games as well while preparing for GV8 to come on the episode. How did you feel the tournament went overall? I know you said that it wasn't a very good patch, realistically, but do you feel
Hmm.
like you played well during the event?
I feel like I honestly feel like I played really well the entire tourney. Um, I even though you well, like even though I went seventh overall. I feel like I actually played pretty well the last day. But obviously, you can't play perfectly. If I played perfectly, I would have made it to Worlds. But like in terms of like how like an average player or like a Worlds player or like a a regionals player how well they play, I would say I definitely play like a little bit above average. Like the mistakes I made were like I didn't make that many mistakes and like big mistakes. But I got a little bit. I definitely did get a little bit unlucky the last day. But it's not the luck. Like it's not the luck's fault. Like if I played better, I would have made it right. Um. So yeah, but I think I could have prepped for it better for sure. Like I think I mean I realize now like so my strat for regionals I started chain vest and I flexed AP and AD, but I felt like on the last this might be a little bit hindsight, but I feel like in the last regionals finals, I should have just like hard forced AD because there's actually a lot of AP players in the lobby, like Ramblin and Aniko
Mm.
and Goobums is flex, so there's potentially like three. And if you're playing AP, like it's not like AD where like if you're contested, like if you're contested AP, it's like significantly worse, right? Because you got to get like the Vex 3 and stuff like that. So I think throughout the whole tourney, not a lot of people were playing AP. So it's like me flexing AP was good, getting like top 4 placements. But the final lobby, there's too many AP players. I should have just like hard for Sivir. I feel like I would have done a better, had a better placement.
There was also like 3 hardcore Civer players in that final lobby as well, to be honest, really.
Yeah. No, not really. Like Milk is a hard for Sivir player. GV8 is he wants to play Sivir, and then DQ not DQA. DQ was playing like Warwick or
He
something.
was playing
Yeah, that's the
Warwick,
thing.
yeah.
Like it's so there's so the players are GV8 who's Flex Sivir, Milk is hard for Sivir, DQA is Warwick Sivir, and then Solus is like just AD I think, right?
The
And
wild
then
card.
yeah, and then it was like Ramblin AP, Aniko AP, and then Goobum's Flex, right? So if you do that, it's like 2 AP, 3 AD, and like 2 AP, 3 or 4 AD, and then 1 Flex. So I think you'd rather be with like the AD group than you rather be like 5 AD than like 3 AP, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah. More
Like
AD
3 AP
units.
players is so brutal. One person or two people are for sure gonna go about 4.
Mm.
So I actually like mapped it out before going into regionals. I was like, oh, there's actually only 2 AP players and like 4, 5 AD server users. So I'm actually still gonna play flex. I don't want to like force AD too hard because there's a lot of AD players, but I realized like um dude, contested AP is so hard.
Yeah.
Like contested AD is fine. Like you just get silver 1 is fine, and you can also pivot to Jin or Draven. So
Mm. Yeah, we saw GV8 do a lot of pivoting to Jin, and in Eco as well. Actually, they both pivoted quite a lot to Jin during the regionals. Sol, I wanted to come to you and ask you if you had any questions for Robin on sort of tournament preparation and things like that.
Yeah, sure. I think my question is like probably like when you're prepping for tourneys, how much do you actually sort of? I think it varies from players to players, but how much do you personally sort of watch what your competitors are doing in terms of like watching maybe like studying their VODs, watching their streams? Yeah, how much of that goes into your sort of process?
I don't do that. I don't do that that much. Like my prep is like I don't prep. I don't like 100% like sweat prep. I just stream and play solo queue. Um, but like that will definitely help. Um, especially for the final lobby. I mean, I kind of had a general idea of like what they were playing, but I didn't go to like dude, Goobums deleted his VOD, so I couldn't. I wanted to see how Goobums was playing and how GVA was playing, but they both deleted their VODs.
Oh,
That's actually another strat, by the way. It's actually really useful because I would have gained a lot of knowledge by reviewing GVA's VODs and Goobums VODs, because GVA and Goobums were averaging so good throughout the entire tourney. So I was like, oh, what's the tech, right? But they removed the VODs, so I had to look at other people's VODs and then pause it when they fought GVA. And look at GVA's board like that. It's like a third person VOD review. I did do that, but I didn't like VOD review every single person. Like I didn't VOD review a Nico, Ramblin, whatever.
that's a lot of effort. That is a
Yeah.
lot of effort.
Yeah, for me personally, I didn't do it, but I know other people that do. I play the game more instead of like
Yeah.
studying, basically.
Do you think it's feasible for Worlds players to literally know everything about everybody? I mean, Chinese regionals is currently going on right now. I mean, there's players from all over the world, all different game styles and positions and different servers. I mean, do you even think it's feasible for players attending the World Championships to like know all of their competitors, what they do, how they play?
I don't think it's feasible to know everyone, but it's 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 pretty normal for you to know the strong players and how they play.
Yeah.
If they have a really good showing at regionals, people tend to study them more. I know a lot of Chinese players watch my VODs because I popped off at regionals last year. So they literally studied me, and they they found out how I played. But they were really surprised of how I played at Worlds, because I played completely different. But it was because it was a different patch. That's why.
Yeah.
Like I was like donking at 7 a lot at regionals. So they're like, okay, like Robin's like a really aggressive player and he like rolls a lot at 7. But then at Worlds, like I went like fast 8 a lot. So they don't really like also like other regions, they don't really notice like a single player usually, but they notice like the whole region and how they play.
Yeah.
Chinese players notice that American players they tend to like to fast 8 a lot and they don't like to roll at 7. So they abused it by like rolling to 0 at 7 and like pressuring you. They realized that like the US people were like a little bit behind meta, because we were still playing like Aphelios and like Draven and stuff, and they were just like hard forcing like Lucian Sentinels at level 7, or like Lucian Vel'Koz. And their strat was definitely better. Like I don't think Aphelios Draven were definitely like B tier. You should just donkey roll at 7 for Lucian Vel'Koz. That's like that was the most optimal strat, I think, at Worlds.
They nerfed Jax really badly right before Worlds as well, I think.
Yeah. I don't think like Jax was playable, but like not that good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think they definitely over nerfed him a little. That's why I was like, dude, Mordok, like, bro,
Come
are you
on.
gonna do me 30 like that? I'm representing your region, man. I was like, why did you? I even told him, I was like, yo, like Mordok, can you like not nerf Jackson Lucian until after Worlds? Okay, business. and then he nerfed it. I was like, bro.
Get hit with the scene, you know. Thanks, Robin. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thought. I mean, being able to say that you've attended the World Championships in a set, I assume would mean that you probably enjoyed set 5.5, I would say. But we were talking off stream a little bit about some of our favorite sets that we played / least favorite. I was wondering if you had like favorite sets, least favorite sets, favorite units, things like that.
Oh yeah. My favorite set would have to be, I don't do 0.5s because I don't really remember like specifically like the 0.5s. I just do like the whole numbers. But I would say my favorite set is set 3 probably, because set 3 like is when I first started streaming and I reached rank 1. That was like when I started streaming and people starting to like know who I was. So that still will always be like really important to me. But like and also like I really like mech. I was like a mech one trick, and that's how I became like well known. I liked Star Guardians, E-Girls. That comp is really good. Cybers, Astro Snipers, stuff like that. So I think set 3 was really good. And then after that is probably after set 3 is probably like set 6. I think set 6 is like the most fun set. It has like the most replayability because of augments. It's not like balanced at all, but it's really fun like to stream and stuff. Right? Like the augments, you can create so much content with augments, right? Like So different tubers and stuff like that. After set 6, probably set 5, just because I went to Worlds for set 5. Also, it really set 5 really complements my playstyle because it's very, very simple. You just pick an armory. It's like not that flexible. After set 5 is probably set 1 for like nostalgic reasons. And then after set 1 is set 4, I think, Chosen. And then after Chosen is set 2. That's my least favorite, set 2. My favorite unit is Riven because I was a Riven one trick. So Dusk Riven is my favorite unit.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds. We've had some Dusk Riven enjoyers on this podcast before. I'd co-host with one of them. I think Soul. You played pretty much only Riven. I feel like in set 4. Oh god.
Riven and Ash.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Cringe.
Or Warwick.
No. I played zero Warwick. I actually did not play any Warwick.
Same.
Yeah.
I didn't play
Warwick?
Warwick either.
Check
Warwick, I just didn't play the game.
Check the lol chess after. I didn't play for 2 weeks actually.
Everyone has like PTSD over Warwick. I'm like, bro, I just didn't play the game.
Dude, I don't know why, but like, I don't care like playing a OP comp like over and over again, right? But I don't know why that patch I didn't play Warwick, and I was like so. That was the only patch that I didn't like TFT. I remember. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I think
like,
it was likewise.
Oh, you know what? You know what it is? You know what it is? It's because Warwick is a reroll comp, so you can't. Wait, no, it's not a reroll comp. It's a 4.
No, it wasn't a reroll.
It's
It's a focus.
Yeah.
No,
why
but
didn't I play it then?
Problem is that the 1-star version with like Shiv and everything was like already like just shitting on everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, I was trying to
it's
compare.
still a
Like,
team.
why did I
Yeah.
enjoy playing Sivir 2020 and not Warwick 2020? It's like similar, right? Like
I think
1-star
Warwick
Sivir
was-
and like
yeah.
Warwick was probably more like crazier.
I think it was just a lot more oppressive. I think Warwick was just way more oppressive.
You had
Yeah.
Divine as well, which gave you like damage reduction, like innate damage reduction.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember that far back.
Yeah.
I'm old. I didn't even play that patch, so I don't remember why Warwick was so broken.
It was just Shiv QSS and like +1 with
Yeah.
his like tags and like his stats were just way overtuned. He just killed everything.
Yeah.
All right. Slightly back on topic. Robin, I want to talk to you a little bit about the tournament format, the TFT tournament format. We had a lot of twitlongers about what's everything that's wrong or right with TFT or how to fix competitive TFT. I was wondering if you had any thoughts on the current TFT competitive format, if there's a way that you think it can be improved upon, potentially any ways that you think it already works, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm like really bad at this stuff. I'm not creative at all. So I'm a really bad person to ask. But there are 2 things that I can think of that can make it better, in my opinion. Number 1, like the scoring system. Instead of 10-1, we should do 8-1, because I don't know why you get 2 extra points for getting first. First is usually high roll. So, and it's also not even that much more hype, right? Like the argument for 10-1 is probably like you feel better if you get first. Stuff like that, or you feel better if you get top 4. But I don't think you should get 2 extra points 4th to 5th, and 2 extra points for 2nd to 1st. And I asked Twitch chat, I'm pretty sure the majority of TFT competitors and Twitch chat like agree, like it's more fair 1 through 8. And then like I know that like we've said this, and then they went back and redid the points as if we played 1 through 8. And then none of the placements changed. You know what I mean? So then that they're like, oh, none of the placements changed, so they wouldn't even make a difference. But like, I feel like that's not the point. Like, I feel like, it might make a difference in other tournaments, and if it did, I don't think it's fair. So I think that would be a good change. Like just for regular tournaments, like for Worlds, I understand checkmate is fine because, it needs to be hype and you need to end on a first. You need to win on a first, right? So I feel like Worlds is fine, but like for like all these like regionals or like regular tournaments, 1 through 8 is okay. The second thing I'm gonna say is I think so tournaments are usually like 3 days, right? Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
You play Friday, half gets eliminated. You play Saturday, half gets eliminated, right? I feel like and then Sunday's the finals, right? I feel like they should not eliminate everyone half first day. I feel like they should pool the points together from first and second day, and then after the second day, they should remove like everyone but the finalists. So you have 2 days of like pooling points. So instead of a sample size of 6 games, it's actually a sample size of 12 games.
Right. Okay. I understand. Yeah, that's
And
really
if you combine that with run through 8, I feel like literally the most consistent players will always go to the finals.
Hmm.
Not always, but it's better than what we have now.
Yeah.
Because you lower one day, you're out. It's like what?
Yeah, and you get those horror stories of players who have done really well after 2 days, and then all of a sudden they get 1 or 2 bottom placings, and all of a sudden they don't get to go to an event anymore.
Yeah,
You-
me. You just described me.
Yeah, yeah. So you want to average out the points to make it fairer. Totally agree. We had similar in the OCE regionals. I think that there's so many ways for competitive games to be improved upon from a tournament perspective. We both come from card game backgrounds, so we both sort of come from this very hyper extreme. You get to a tournament in this giant hall at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you played 9 rounds of games in 12 hours, and then you leave at 8 o'clock at night because it's been
Oh,
all
wow.
day. And that was never fun. And you also had to hang out with people that played card games all day, so it got really gross and sweaty, and it's hot in Australia. And anyway, I don't want to talk about that. But the thing is, like, if you're gonna have like tournament style Swiss formats in TFT, where you're attempting to find the best players, you need to have a sample size that promotes like quality. So I think the 2 days sounds really interesting. I haven't heard that before, at least on this podcast. That sounds really, really cool. And we got a lot of agreeing in Twitch chat as well. So can't be all
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, Natures is doing all that right now. This guy called Natures. And then he listens to people's suggestions. So I'm pretty sure next set's competitive format will be better. Copium.
He does a lot of the work with, is it Wisdom or Giant Slayer? Are they the same thing?
I think they're the same. Giant
They're the
Wisdom
same.
owns Giant Slayer.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, he got promoted to like the organizer, whatever. And he asked asked a lot of pro players to DM him about suggestions. We also have like a Discord group, and I think they went into a call. I like overslept, and also like yeah, like I don't know a lot of these format things, but he went to a call with like a lot of pro players, and they just like gave him everything. So I'm pretty sure next set will be dope.
Great. If I could talk briefly about next set before we get back onto Worlds, you said that you like augments in a way, and you said that you've liked the big changes that they've made, and you also said that you liked it when there wasn't too much to think about with armories and things like that. They've said that in a way augments and armories and all this kind of stuff is going to be staying around in set 7. Do you agree with that in general? Would you like to see it stay around?
Yes, I think augments should stay. I don't know. I feel like augments gave so much replayability that if you go back to a TFT with no augments, people are gonna think it's boring. I think. I know a lot of people bitch about augments because they're not balanced, but we have to cater to like the people that play this game for fun, not for competitive. So I think the best thing to do is to bring back augments, but hopefully have them balanced. There was actually a Twitter poll recently that someone did, like, do you want augments to come back set 7? And I think like at the beginning of this set, it would have been majority no, but then now it was majority yes. So I'm pretty sure the majority of people actually like augments, even though they like really hated the augments before because they're like really unbalanced. But then now they're slowly like appreciating the augments more now.
So your thoughts. I know we ask all of our guests this similar question, but do you want augments to come back?
Yes, I am pro augments. I think that like despite the many headaches that I've gotten from augments and the many times I've cursed Vault Dog's name, I think that they overall are good for the game. That as Robin said, the augments just give an unparalleled amount of replayability. Like literally no other set mechanic has ever like given to, I feel like, to TFT. I think like it was like I think that was like partly what made Galaxy so fun was that like every game was kind of different, and augments are just like that, but like amplified to like 10 million degree because like there's just an endless combination like there's an endless different like combination of like augments that you can have. So
Yeah.
like every game is quite literally unique. Like you will not have the two same games where you just have the exact same augments. And I think that's really fun. I think that's like I think that's like a lot preferable to like, for example, like forcing the same chosen every game, or like forcing the same shadow items every game, forcing the same radiant items. I think it's a lot more fun, like to like, play around augments. And I know there's like a lot of people that like detract away and say that like oh augments are 200, but I think augments themselves can also be very like very skill testing because there are augments that just open up completely like weird lines of play that like if you hadn't explored before or like hadn't practiced before, you just wouldn't even be able to see at all. And like sometimes it's like the biggest high roll, but like players just completely like weak like lesser players are just completely like like overlook the fact that like they've like super high rolled. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. We get a lot of interesting discussion about whether or not this is a good thing going on in Twitch chat right now.
Like for fun, it's good. For competitive, it's
Yeah.
bad. But
Mm.
fun is greater than competitive for a longevity of a game. So
Do you think there's a way to balance the competitive aspect of augments at all?
yeah. They're doing it better. Like I'm pretty sure the augments now are pretty balanced.
Hmm.
But there are some that are like if you're playing Sivir, right? Like if you got weak spot versus someone who got like freaking I don't know something bad, that's a pretty big like difference, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like Soul said, there's a lot of skill expression. For example, like build diff. If you don't know how to play build diff, you completely ignore that, right? But if you know how to play build diff, you can take that and you probably get a better placement than versus a person who didn't take it. So there is skill in augments for sure.
It's very watching the Chinese regionals last night was really interesting because they fucking love built diff. There's like two built
Dude,
diff players in every lobby.
I can't
What
wait
does
to watch Worlds this year because I feel like it'll be really interesting seeing the different regions and what augments they like.
Yeah, that I totally agree with, and that starts this weekend with the LCQ as well. We know we get to see some of the world's best players fighting out to try and make it to Worlds as well. Let's keep going on Worlds. I want to actually get your thoughts on the NA competitors that are being sent this year. I'd love to start with GV8, recent guest on the podcast. He talked a lot about how he did it. He was working so hard for the people that believed in him and how excited he was and how he was just going to ignore TFT for like a week and then go back to start grinding. So how did you feel about GV8's... I know you were very focused on that final lobby in your own right, but how do you feel about GV8, his play, and how you think he'll do at Worlds?
I mean, I was like one of the only people that not only people, but like I remember I was like on the podcast ranking thing, Frodo and stuff, and like me and Soju had to like do the rankings, and I wanted to rank GV8 high, but Soju didn't want to rank him high, so I was like a believer in GV8 already, just purely from in-house scores. Like in all the in-houses that they played, GV8 probably played in the most in-houses because we had morning in-houses and we had nighttime in-houses for like the regular people and the degens, right? And then GV8 like did both most of the time. So he definitely worked the hardest and he definitely grinded out the most in-house games and his in-house scores were cracked. So I knew he was on if something clicked and he was in a good spot. People's arguments were like, oh, GV8 is not a tournament player, like he has bad tourney results. But I feel like I remember I was one of his streams and he said he realized what he was doing wrong, and that it clicked. So I don't know why I believed him, but apparently it did click. And as far as as far as Worlds and how he'll do, I feel like that mainly depends on if he's good at the patch or not. So I don't know how good he is at the patch. I haven't seen him play because I'm not awake when he's awake. But hopefully the patch is good for him, and if it's good for him, he'll do really well. Also, he has a time advantage because he's used to waking up. He'll actually be in peak form because when we play in NA tournaments, it actually starts at 7 p.m. for him and it ends at like midnight for him, kind of.
Yeah.
and he is a morning person, so he's actually been not in peak form in all the tournaments that he's played in. So we're about to see peak form
Peak form
GV8
GV8.
at Worlds. Yes.
That's exciting. Another competitor, of course, won Civil One Trick. I was wondering if you wanted to touch on how you think Milk might do at the event.
Milk is really hard to tell because he always downplays himself before a tourney, so I don't know if he's good or bad. Like right now, his LP is so bad, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fucked. I don't know what to do. Like I'm fucked." But then like he always gets first, so I think he'll be in a great spot. He just needs to. The biggest thing is his time sleep schedule because he's been waking up at like midnight and he sounds mega tired. So hopefully he sorts that out and hopefully it clicks for him. And he has a girlfriend buff this time, so he
Okay,
it's
girlfriend
we're
buff.
seeing peak form Milk as well. So
Yeah. Honestly, Soul, I mean, we had the absolute pleasure of chatting to GV8, and we haven't yet had the pleasure to chat to Milk, but what are your thoughts specifically about those two before we carry on?
Yeah, I think GVA Goose has a playstyle that naturally lends itself really well to 20s. I mean, he's a very very tempo, very aggro, very sort of strongest board at all times kind of player, and I think that like kind of playstyle is inherently always going to be solid. It might not be the best playstyle in any given like patch, any given 20, but like I think it's always like a really solid baseline. So I think like he's definitely got that going for him. I think Milk. I don't know. I think Milk is more of a wild card, but I feel like every time, as Robin said, every time Milk's been like, oh yeah, I'm fucked. I don't know what I'm gonna do. He always like manages to pop off. So I wouldn't be too surprised as well this time if like he just completely pops off at Worlds. So yeah, I think that like if anything like especially like during during the in-house preparation phase, it's actually like probably better to like not do too well because and to actually be doing badly because then like especially if like our process is like good, you can identify like all the things you're doing wrong and like really sort of try to like iron out all the mistakes as opposed to like if you're just steamrolling everybody. I feel like you definitely don't learn as much as you could like if you're just like winning every single lobby and like yeah, I mean there's still stuff to be learned when you win, right? Like there's still mistakes get made even in games where you win, but in general I feel like it's definitely like harder to identify mistakes.
Finally, I want to talk about the tactical surrenderer, as
Oh yes.
the online article called it.
free QA.
Yeah, free QA.
DQA is fucked. DQA is fucked. He's been playing Valorant the entire time, so he's fucked. No, just kidding. I don't know. He started to play TFT recently.
He's back on TFT. That's good.
Yeah, he's back on TFT after Valorant, but I think like he got bit by the Valorant bug. So when he's playing TFT in the back of his head, he's just like, "Fuck, I want to play Valorant." So I don't know if he's gonna give it 100% on TFT, to be honest. But DQA is cracked in tourneys. So also he did really well the first. He actually did really well the first Worlds that he attended at. So obviously nerves is not a problem for him. So I think I think he's still gonna do really well. I think DQA and Milk both have the veteran buff, where it's their second Worlds, so they're not gonna be as nervous, and they know what the mistakes that they made the first Worlds. So, yep, we'll see.
DQI, he was also like second ranked after day 2, I think as well. Like he was way up there, ready like during regionals as well. I think he was like the second best player before the day.
So yeah, but he just played Warwick every game, so fake rank 2.
Do you think it's is Warwick fucked? Can I ask that? I haven't seen any Warwick players in a while. Is it just
it's like below average. Still playable though.
Playable if you high roll.
Augment dependent. Is it more augment dependent now than like hard forceable?
You definitely can't hard force it. I hard force it once I went 8th.
Fair.
You have to let it. You have to play it when you have the opener, which is how it's supposed to be. So it's good.
Yeah, fixed comp. Didn't take him very long.
Yeah, only like 3 patches.
Yeah, that's pretty good like for TFT. Patches. To be fair.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's all right. Yeah, thanks for that, Robin. Let's. I want to finish up the big sort of discussion on Worlds by talking about your sort of future plans, Robin. Are you set 7? Is it we go again? We're going to qualify for the next World Championships. We're going to do everything we can to be back at Worlds.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, set 7. I'll probably go a little bit harder, do some VOD reviews and stuff. But yeah, I was gonna try for set 7. I'm gonna keep trying until TFT competitive like dies, I guess. But yeah, catch me in set 7 worlds.
Great. This is the portion of our podcast where we switch over to question time. And guys, if you do want to ask questions for our guests who come on, you can join the Discord and ask a question in our questions channel. So this is where I hand over to Sol and we get the questions going. A lot of them will be specifically for Robin, of course. So I'm looking forward to hearing what we've got.
All right. So without further ado, the first question comes from Vince, and the question is, how do you feel about the state of TFT and its progression as a competitive game over all the sets, basically?
Progression of TFT. It's getting better competitively, getting better every year. I've been saying that, but Kiyun just says like, "Oh, copium," like sets like it's getting worse every year. I'm like, bro, that's cap. Like, dude, set 3 competitive was so trash. Like, I think it's getting better every year, but everyone has different opinions.
Kiyun's that guy that used to play TFT, right?
Yeah, I mean, he started
yeah.
he started playing again.
Stuff like
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's getting better every year. So yeah, but as from like a design perspective or like whatever, I think Mortog and his team are getting better every year. At like knowing what people want to play. Actually, I don't know. I was gonna say like better, getting better at balancing / unit design every year, but like I don't know about that actually. So we'll see. I don't know.
I think they always like manage to get there. It's just that, as you said earlier in the pod, like sometimes it just takes them way too long to get there. Like sometimes it doesn't take them as long, and then sometimes it just takes them way too long to figure out some of the units.
Yeah.
I will say that it's way harder in the 0.5 sets, and I totally understand why like the 0.5 sets are generally seen as like quite forgettable because they don't have enough time. They just have to bring back shit that's been in other sets. Like I get why they have to do that because they're focused so hard on making the 0.0 sets. So I mean, in 2 months' time, everyone will be like, dude, set 7's the fucking greatest, or set 7's the fucking worst. Like it won't matter how the augments made people feel in 6.5. You know, I think for most people. So I think we'll see a big difference in the coming weeks and months.
If you think about it, the TFT team has so limited time that it's actually crazy. If you're a developer, how many sets is it a year? 2 sets a year, right?
Yeah.
2 sets a year, so that's
Sets a year,
four sets, right? Total, like including the 0.5s. So they have what's 12 divided by 4? 3 months. So they have 3 months to work on a 0.5 set. Isn't that crazy? Like
yeah.
it's like it's not a brand new game, but it's like almost every champion is like they try to do every champion's different, you know, new augments system and stuff like that. They have to program the augments in, like, and they have 3 months to do it. What? So yeah, it's actually really impressive.
Yeah,
Sure.
agreed. Plus all the patches.
Another question from Vince. So, how has the partnership with Team Liquid been for you? Do you think more streamers and players should strive for team partnerships?
It's been great. Like, it's been great. It gave me a lot of exposure, and give me a lot of exposure. And they have a great team. You know, like I think my computer was getting a little bit slow, and I was gonna buy a new computer, and then Twitch chat was like, "Oh, you should ask TL. Like, this is literally for your job." So I asked TL, and then I think they're like, "Oh yeah, like we'll get you one." So that's really nice of them.
Say less.
And then yeah, I was like, "Oh shit, dope." And then they send you a shit ton of merch. It's kind of nice. You don't have to buy clothes ever. Um And yeah, like I do recommend. I mean, I feel like everyone wants to get signed anyways, so I don't think I need to convince anyone. But yeah, it's been every experience has been positive so far ever since signing with Team Liquid. There's literally like no negatives. Like they don't take oh, I think they're supposed. I think orgs, depending on your contract, they're supposed to take a cut of your winnings, tournament winnings. But then TFT tournament winnings are so low, they're like, nah, you keep it.
You can have your 70. You can have your $75, Robin. That's
Yeah.
okay.
You heard it
Yeah,
here
yeah.
first.
Yeah. But yeah, like you don't have like there's no negatives. Like you don't have to like sell your soul or like give them half of your Twitch earnings or whatever. Like they don't take anything, so it's actually like kind of crazy.
Cool. Moving on. Question from Zanlo concerning Double Up. Someone who has played Double Up at the highest level, what would you like to see for Double Up in terms of mechanics / gameplay? And what changes would you like to see in its ranked ladder to make it more interesting?
I don't know. I'm not creative enough to know what they should add for Double Up. That might be a better question for Ramblin. He's a little bit more creative and stuff. But in terms of like how to make people want to play it, like just change the ranking system to regular, like challenger stuff. Like I'm pretty sure people will play it. Not this like blue tier, purple tier stuff. They need to fix like all the bugs, and then they need to allow you to do in-house Double Up. That'll help it a lot. Because I know a lot of friends want to play Double Up with their friends, like with like a group of friends. So you can play Double Up like 8 people.
Oh yeah,
That'd be
that
lit.
sounds fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
I think that
but-
like the I didn't mean to cut out.
No, no,
Yeah, I
no.
was
go
gonna say. I think that like the ranking system for Double Up is like in Hyper 27. I think it's like it's not intrinsically bad, but like because that we're all so used to the regular ranking system from like, ladder, there's always just gonna be like that familiarity that like we all want to like default to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just makes it like I think it's just hard to like engage with it just because it's like it's a different system. You know, we're used to like the one that we've already played with for so long. It's yeah. Like it's hard to sort of quantify like what a good rank is in Double Up or Hyperroll because you're like, oh, I rank like I have like 6,000 points. And it's like, cool. What does that mean? You know, I take all my measurements in LP. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Agreed.
All right. Moving on. I've got a question from Naturo who asks, who would you call the god of TFT?
Rest of it.
Yeah.
Nah, just kidding. I mean,
you heard it here first.
God of TFT, like the goat or the goat of TFT.
I
Okay.
guess we could frame it like that. Who would you say is like the goat? Let's actually put it this way. Who would you say is the goat of NATFT?
Okay. I had this conversation with Soju. I think it's either between Milk or Socks right now. Because Milk and Socks both went to Worlds twice, and they are really, really consistent on ladder as well for every set. So I think right now it's between Milk and Socks for sure. And yeah. But I think if you count every region, it's probably Wanmei who won Worlds last year.
Oh, Huamei, yeah.
Yeah, and he also went to Worlds like the previous year, and also Casey Double. Casey Double's going to Worlds this year, and he also won Worlds one of the years. I feel like you have to win Worlds once to be considered a GOAT.
Was it a set 3 champion?
He won the first
Yes.
Worlds Double, did
Yeah,
it?
set
It's a
3,
set
set
3
3.
champion, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a set 3 champion. Yeah.
Like I think for you to be the GOAT, you have to either go to Worlds or win Worlds, and you also have to be really consistent every single set on ladder and have really good tournament placings every single set. So like yeah, right now the people that are in that category is like Wanmei, Casey Double, Milk, Socks, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Alright, sweet. Alright, got another one from Miwu. And the question is, which champion and ability would you want to see in TFT?
I mean, I feel like I quit League a long time ago, so like all the champions that I know are probably like older, and they're probably already in TFT. But I like I like Riven's my favorite champ, so I want Riven to come back, but that's kind of a answer. So maybe like Rammus, you can roll around and like taunt someone or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, Rammus would have been my answer too. There's only like 2 units that haven't been put in TFT now, I think, or like 3 champions. I don't know. Like I quit League ages ago as well, so I don't even know the newest champion.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be like Vex. I know Vex is like a mid laner in League of Legends. She actually does like a big fear and like fears units. That would be like a cool ultimate ability, kind of a bit like set for Lilia. I don't know, but like fear, like the units run in the opposite direction instead of going to sleep for 3 seconds. Yeah, I don't know. There's like, is it just like because Alistair and Corki had never been in TFT before, and now they're just in 6.5.
They're new. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
Rammus gonna be
Alistair-
next set for sure then.
Rammus next.
Yeah, confirmed.
You know
Yeah.
the Scarab was supposed to be Rammus.
I did see that.
Oh, that's right. I think they said so. Yeah, but they was like, oh, it's too
They want to keep
like
him.
it's
Yeah, it's
like,
like that's not
it's
worthy
first
of like a
experience.
Rammus appearance, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, it would be his first appearance as well. So it's like no, if that's fair. I personally would really like to see a 4-cost Camille that hook shots everywhere and executes everybody. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Oh.
That would be sweet.
I didn't even know Camille had like more than just her W ability.
More than just a time. Well, her gimmick in League is that she fires a grapple hook and then like she releases off it and dives onto people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that Akshan, like he's got a broken ability where he like revives if somebody.
But we've had Akshan already though. We had Akshan in set 5. He just slung around shooting everyone.
Yeah.
Times.
Instead of Kindred, they got rid of Kindred, right?
A question. All right, let's move on. So I got a question from Jirachi, well-known talent user, who asks, "No meme. How good is Time Flies?"
How good is Time Flies? Oh, it fucking sucks. I mean, okay, it's good. It's good if you're challenger and you play in flat or gold. Today I actually played it in-house with my friends, and I got first with Zillion reroll. So it's good in that sense.
See, there's the clip of you going A with an iron or something.
That didn't count because I got prismatic diff. But
so don't play it in prismatic lobbies.
If you want to climb in ranked, and you're in challenger, yeah, you can't play it. It sucks. It's too no. You can actually no. I don't know. I played it a couple times. I got third, fourth. So it's actually doable. Like in like 1 through 10, how bad it is, I think it's actually like it's like 5. It's like 4. It's like not that bad. It's actually playable. Like if you get true 2s and you get Zillion 2 swing 2, you can play it. But yeah, I wouldn't hard force it every game. You're gonna lose RLP.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame that like there aren't more comps like that where like they're using 2 sort of unit interactions that are sort of unintuitive. Like in set 5 we had the bulldozer comp with Varus Pantheon. Was really cool. That was actually a good comp as well. So yeah, I think it's always really fun when those kind of comps show up that have like hidden that like sort of abuse hidden synergies between units. And that's really cool. Cool.
Wombo combos.
It was different when we had Chosen as well. Sorry, I was just gonna say it was different when we had Chosen. You could like force anything. It was like just like any Chosen like 3-star unit was usually like all right. Like because there was just so many options to build like good boards around your Chosen unit.
Yeah.
So yeah, continue.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Okay. Cool. This is reaching the sort of last of our prepared questions already. So if anyone in the chat wants to ask anything, feel free to drop your question now as well. By the way, but this one comes from Chazelbeck, and it's mostly to do with sort of augments. So I guess the first one is, what are your views on the removed augments? Like this one's kind of hard because I don't even remember which augments were removed.
I don't remember, but as far as I can remember, they're all good. Like I agreed with every single decision that they made. I mean, they removed the freaking Woodland Trinket because that augment was literally horrible the entire set. And, a nightmare to balance.
God.
I don't know what else they removed, but
Hextech Crest and Hextech.
Oh, Hextech Crest. Yeah. Why did they remove that? Okay, I think the reason why
was better. Yeah.
You know why? You know why Hextech? You know the core problem with is because of Alistar.
Yeah.
Is Alistar was a Hextech unit, so Heart was better because you can't even fit on 8, right? So I guess that was like a design flaw that they realized, and like there's no point for Hextech Crest, so they just removed it. That I agree with. Um, and then
The only
yeah,
other
I don't
ones they
remember.
removed are Hextech Unity and Scholar Crest.
Yeah, Hextech Unity was like Hextech Unity was like Hextech Unity was like so bad, and then Scholar Crest is even more bad because like who cares who you put the Scholar Crest on? Like you just want a Scholar, right?
Yeah.
So I've been saying like set 6 is basically set 7 PBE. Like they're preparing for set 7. All these like augment balances, they realize that like yeah, like oh yeah, maybe Scholar Crest is like dog, and like maybe like Hexa Crest is like bad with Alistar, and like Woodland Trinket is like too creative and stuff like that. So like I think they'll know which augments to keep and which augments to like the new augments um it doesn't set 7, they'll like keep it within the creativity slash like make it balanceable and stuff like that. So set 6 was just like a guinea pig for set 7 um in terms of like an augment experimentation.
Yeah, I agree with the chat. It was an ad for Arcane set 6.5. That's what it was.
From Arcane.
Oh yep.
You get to play Silco. You get to play
Um,
all your favorite characters from the hit TV show Arcane,
Yeah.
and then you move on to the what's the new theme of the new set? Dragons. It's like dragons and cults and
Dragons.
stuff.
Yeah. Dragons.
Cool. ASOL's coming back.
You know they
Yes.
added Soko's like Soko talking finally?
Oh, the Silco lines are so good.
Yeah,
They're actually
they're
good.
so cool. I don't know why it took them so
Yeah,
long to
they're
add
really
it.
cool.
But yeah, they're really cool, but Soko's kind of toxic. Like when you die, he just says like, "Oh, disappointment, disappointing."
Yeah, I saw this on your stream actually.
Yeah, dude. No, it's actually like I'm not that sensitive, and like my games don't matter. But like, dude, if the games matter, or like imagine a tournament where you're playing a tournament and you get fucking bot forward, and Soko's like disappointing. You're like, shut the fuck up.
Oh,
But that's cool.
Alright. For sure.
it took
Quick
them a while
ones.
to track down the voice actor.
Yeah. Yeah, they finally got him though. That's great. All right. Still some questions from Charles Effect. There's mostly still just about augments. So we'll try to get through these somewhat quickly. First one is, how do you feel about the sort of the current state of Windfall? Do you think the gold is worth it, and in what stages do you think it's worth it? I believe they recently buffed Windfall again. Yes.
I don't like econ augments. Oh, I do like econ augments, but not if they're prismatic. Like econ augments are good if they're tier 1 or tier 2, but tier 3, if you take Windfall, you're just down to prismatic, and it just feels really bad. I mean, you're not down to prismatic, but like if you can't like I don't know the word, but like use the gold and put it on your board, then you're down to prismatic. I don't think it's good. They buffed tier stage 1 prismatic Windfall to 20 gold. Rich Get Richer is 14 gold, right? And you get the additional like more econ. And it's 6 more gold than Rich Get Richer. Is 6 gold worth a tier jump from tier 2 to tier 3? Like I don't know. I don't think Windfall's ever my first choice as a last or second prismatic. So I just think the combat prismatics are way too strong for you to get an econ prismatic. That's why all the econ prismatics suck. Like the reroll one and like level up, they're all like really bad. So I feel like they should just make like all like combat prismatics.
I mean,
I
I
think
really
the best.
like Treasure Trove. You know, like if you're gonna do
Oh, Treasure Trove 3 is busted
so
as a
good.
first.
Treasure is quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like
Use
if you're
items.
gonna do it,
So yeah.
if you're gonna do like econ augments in the prismatic tier, you should make them more like Treasure Trove, where you get like the value in units as well as gold instead of just flat gold. Like I don't care
Yeah.
about 20 gold at 1-4 if all I can buy is a pair of brands and a Camille, as
Yeah.
opposed to having the option of getting like Nico's tome, like a Lucian, an Echo, a Morgana, or whatever out of boxes and things like that.
Oh yeah, the units are like the 3-cost units are broken. That's
Yeah.
why like the orbs are so broken.
And 3-cost units, like on stage 2, they've always been really good. Not always broken,
Yeah.
but like always really good. You like you. I think about like set 5, like getting like Nidalee Riven out of
Yep.
an orb,
Oh yeah.
and like you just fucking
Yasuo, Lee Sin. Oh
yeah,
baby.
Yasuo
Yeah.
and Lee Sin out of an orb.
Good.
Like,
Kindred set 2 was like
Just
yeah,
broken.
even like set 4 Kindred with like Spirit,
Yeah.
those kind of things. So like usually getting a 3-cost out of an orb is like significantly much more value than just like having 20 gold that you have to hold on to at 2-1, unless you want to buy an extra Ziggs. Well, I mean, Yordles is different, but unless you want to buy a Singed, something like that, you know? So I think if they're going to do the econ augments for Prismatic, make them more like champion based. Give us more units to play around with. That'd be my opinion.
yeah. Like my pick for strongest like econ Priz is I don't even know if it counts as econ Priz, but my pick is Merc Soul. That's just because of how warping that
Yeah.
mechanic is. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some guy in CN regionals had 7 mercs in like stage 3 yesterday.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So strong.
It's the regional qualifiers, right? Like
Yeah.
the actual regionals didn't start yet, right? Or did it?
It's the next weekend.
It's
I
still the
think?
regional qualifiers. Yeah.
Okay.
Have multiple finals, I think. It's weird. I
Yeah,
remember
well,
reading
their
someone
regional
explaining it.
finals are in person, and they're like 2 weeks before World on the World patch.
Is the regional finals like 8 people, like the final lobby? Like
Yeah, I think it's 8 people or 16.
Yes,
people,
it's
maybe.
8 people.
oh, so regionals is already going on right now, right? Like
Yeah, the regional
Like-
qualifiers for the final 8 regional finals is currently going on,
oh, okay.
and they're
Damn.
giving like 15 grand or something.
Wait,
pretty sure.
when do they play?
15
Like,
grand?
weekends?
Wait, isn't it like way more?
Well, no, but that's like just for
Anyway.
the qualifiers. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Well, all I know is I was watching GV8 like last night Australian time. Watch it, and that was like 8 hours from now when it was live.
Oh, so it's
Yes.
DGen hour. Okay.
Yeah, it's DGen for the west coast of America, and like early morning for the east coast. Yeah.
Maxi Von book in the chat asks, is High Five worth it now that it's gold?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It gives one.
High
less
five is
cost.
it got nerfed, right? To like 4 out of
Yeah.
5. So at worst,
It's 4 or 5 costs.
at worst
yeah.
it's 20 gold. At worst it's 20 gold, right?
Mm.
Tier 2, 20 gold is pretty good.
Yeah.
So the only times you can get it is 4-6. Is that still true?
You get it only at 4-6 though. You get it
Yeah.
pretty late. In the game.
Oh,
Yeah. You
I
only
mean,
get
I
it
think
at
it's
4-6.
worth. It's only a
It's
tier
probably
2.
still
Like even
good.
if you miss,
Yeah.
you're down at tier 2. You know what's broken though? 4
Uh,
score as a tier 1.
Mm.
4 score tier 1.
Oh yeah, 4 scores at tier 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tier 1.
I haven't been up to it yet.
It's minimum 12 gold as a tier 1. And then if you get the forecast that you want, it's it's infinite value. So yeah, I don't know about that. I think High Five is definitely worse than 4 score. It's not the best, I think, but it's definitely takeable. But I don't play around 5-cost units really, so
Yeah, I was gonna say I think High Five makes sense if you're in a spot where you can sort of fast 9, so that like getting dropped 5-cost pairs is like something you can play around. I think.
yeah.
I think like just getting dropped raw 5-cost is not as good, purely because like it could just be hard to fit them in your board, or like you might just not hit. Yeah, oh, it's cute.
Hey, Leon.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Cool.
I mean, the way that the 5-costs are at the moment, I feel like getting like 90% of them is really good. They're also
Yeah.
they're really good. Like if you get a pair of Victor or like a pair of Jinx and you're playing twin shots, it's like, okay, it's over. The game's just fucking over.
For sure. Thoughts on Tiny Titans being silver?
I think Tiny Titans appearing stage 1 is still not that good, but stage 2 I think it's pretty good. Not stage 2, stage 3. the second augment,
Mm.
if you get Tiny Titans, I think it's actually pretty good. A tier 1 for 35 health, that's pretty good.
It's a lot. We
Yeah.
had, I don't know if you watched the OC regionals, Robin, but we had our final game of the OC regionals was basically decided by a 4-6 Tiny Titans on a
Really?
on a cat. Yeah.
That's probably why
oh
they
yeah,
nerfed it.
I don't know. I don't know if you heard. Yeah, that was man, that was heartbreakingly the difference between Escher making worlds.
And not,
Wait,
yeah.
so Escher got Tiny Titans by someone else,
Yeah.
and that's why he
Gosh,
didn't make
yeah.
worlds?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean,
What the?
Yeah, he was.
Bro.
The guy was on like 14 health last life. Then he got
Yeah.
Tiny Titans and ended up finishing like high rolling a 4th and getting
Replacement over
worlds.
Escher?
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know.
Was-
I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was that close.
It was a super tight race either way, but just that 4-6 Tiny Titans was very.
Oh,
it was
unlucky.
a spicy one.
Augment diff. Maybe try next set, Escher.
It
Unlucky.
was a spicy one.
Yeah, 1 point.
It was a spicy one.
Yep.
Yeah.
As for Tiny Titans, like one of the things that you'll see it more basically because it's a silver, because more games have the silver augments. So the fact that it's going to be in more games is really interesting as well, especially for ladder. I think that changes a couple of things. I've always been a big proponent of taking like Tiny Titans on stage 1. Like I don't think it's great unless you hard force mercs, because you essentially give yourself 3 extra or 4 extra losses potential before you just die.
Yeah.
So I've always been a big proponent of taking it if your plan is I'm gonna hard force mercs. So yeah, I think you'll see it more often, but I don't think it changes all that much. I feel like the games are just gonna be like a little bit longer on average because there's gonna be 2 random people who just take it instead of, I don't know, target dummies and first aid kit or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that the 1-4 version in general is just fairly weak unless you have that exact sort of merc opener. Like you go drop like a GP from box and then you get offered 1-4 Titan Titans. You're like, okay, bet I'm forcing merc this game. I think that in that context it can be like extremely powerful. But I think that like in just a generic context it's not that good. I think like in my opinion, at least the biggest problem I see with it taking it like really early is that it griefs your carry priority. And that it makes like slamming items really, really weird, especially by griefing that priority. But I don't know. That being said, it is a lot of raw value for a silver. So I feel like the jury is like definitely still out on it as to like, is this too powerful? Is this appropriately powered? Yeah.
I feel like if you have a really strong opener, you can take Tiny Titans because you're not gonna have Chaos of Pride either, anyways.
Yeah.
It's actually
that
a
would be like the
10
main
head.
argument.
Yeah, and then you just probably get a free top 4 because you have a strong stage 2, strong stage 3, and you fall off late game, but you have 35 more health. So.
But then I think the counter argument to that would be like, well, if your opener is already strong, why would you not just take like a combat augment, right, to push that lead? So I think it would have to be in a scenario where you didn't get offered a good combat augment, you got offered exactly Tiny Titans, your board is strong enough to win streak, and then I'm pretty sure it's never
the best choice.
Yeah. That's where I'm sort of out on it as well. So. Right, I think that's all that's pretty much all the questions I had prepared. So if anyone in the chat still wants to sort of pick Robin's brain for anything else, go ahead. Yeah, that's everything I had prepared.
You guys are lucky that Soul's letting you ask questions today. I told you guys it wasn't happening. So if you've got any questions in Twitch chat, you guys have exactly 2 minutes to ask questions.
It's cool.
Until Soul's the kind parent out of both of us. As
the good cop, he's the bad cop.
Yeah, the good cop. While we wait, I do want to say a big thank you, however, to Robin for joining us today. I really enjoyed having you on, so thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Wait, who's representing OCE?
So we have KNP. I'm not going to say what his name actually stands for.
Wait, why not?
Well, okay. Well, we can say it. This is an M-rated.
We can say it. It's fine.
So his name is KNPNGRZ. I think that's right. Which I'm pretty sure translates to Ket and Pingers, which is like Ket is obviously short for ketamine, which is like horse tranquilizer, and Pingers is like Australian slang for.
That's right. Pingers is an Australian thing.
Pingers is like Australian slang for like MDMA.
Pingers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an Australian thing.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
So yeah, we're sending Ket and Pingers to Worlds. And TXE, also known as Ron, he was the one that Tiny Titans Escher and Kade out of a World spot.
Okay. Are they like strong players, or are they like
Ket and Pingers?
like-
He's really
I
strong.
can't keep
He
saying it. I'm
played
just
really
gonna say
well.
KMP. He played super well for the entire 3 days, but no one had ever
Yeah.
really heard of him beforehand. Like a really good, just like a ladder player, like a really strong ladder player. And TXE has been like at regional events before and things like that. Like
Ron is TXE. Ron is he's really good, but I mean he's already said like on his stream that like he's gonna be really busy with like life commitments with like uni and assignments and everything.
yeah?
So he's got the IRL debuff going into 20.
Mhm.
He is definitely a solid player.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we did the guy that organizes tournaments down here in OC did say that's not actually what his name is. What? Okay. So we have one last question from chat, and that comes from Just Buffer, and that is why did you write your Time Flies guide since it made me lose 200 LP?
I mean, that's a player diff. That's a player diff.
Yeah.
I did fine with Time Flies.
Yeah. He wrote the guide.
Yeah, it's definitely playable. It's definitely playable. Go play it, guys. The hide the tech though, secret tech.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Trust.
It's just a PD.
LP guaranteed.
Look, guys, that's going to be it for today's episode. Just one more final shout out and thank you guys for listening. First of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to my co-host Sol for joining me on this episode as usual. Sol, where can people find you if they want to find
Yeah,
you?
super fun as always. Yeah, twitch.tv/Sol_TFT. Man, I'm so plugging myself. Yeah, that's mostly where you can find me. There you go.
Great. And I mean, Robin Songs, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows where they can find you, but once again, a big thank you for joining us. And for those of you that maybe don't, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Robin Songs. Everything. All my socials are Robin Songs.
Wonderful. Guys, my name is Cutler, so you can find me twitch.tv/Cutler with 3. And for next week, if you guys stick around for the post show, we'll reveal who's coming on next time. Until then, thank you very much for listening to the Roll Down podcast, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.